passé composé, les verbes irréguliers. We're going to talk a little bit about how to do passé composé and how the irregular verbs fit in with passé composé. So remember, the first step with passé composé is changing the verb into its PP form. This is when ER becomes E with an accent, IR becomes I, and RE becomes U. In this case, manger is an ER verb, so we know that ER becomes E with an accent, manger. We need now to decide whether manger is one of the Dr. Mrs. R. Vandertamp words. Remember, if it is one of the Dr. Mrs. R. Vandertamp words, it belongs, or its auxiliary partner is être. In this case, manger is not one of those verbs. That means that its auxiliary partner is avoir. So now that we know that its auxiliary partner is avoir, we need to conjugate avoir to match the pronoun. So I've gone through, looked at all my conjugations, and to fit into my sentence, I know I need to conjugate avoir to meet and to match to. So in this case, I'm going to put tu es manger. So now I just plug that in right before the PP form. So now I have the pronoun, the auxiliary, in this case it's a conjugated avoir, and the PP form. However, there are some verbs that have an irregular PP form and don't follow the typical E with an accent, I or U. Now this is the list of irregular verbs that you will be using on a more day-to-day basis. So avoir becomes U, être becomes été, devoir, dû, dire, dit, écrit, écrit, faire, fait, lire, lu, mettre, mis, pouvoir, pu, prendre, pris, comprendre, compris, apprendre, appris. Notice that even though prendre is the suffix in this case, the ending changes the same way as well. Voir, vu, and vouloir, voulu. Even though they're different, they're still used in the same way. So if we were conjugating vouloir in the passé composé, we'd figure out the PP form of vouloir, which is voulu. We'd decide whether vouloir was in Dr. Mrs. R. Vandertamp. It's not. That means that the auxiliary for vouloir is avoir. Then we conjugate it to match the pronoun. So the only thing that changes is the ending here for the PP form, but it's still used in the exact same way that we've been learning over the past couple months. Remember, if you still have any questions or this still confuses you, you'll have lots of opportunities to come in and ask for help during class, before school, during lunch, or after school. Make sure that you understand this before tests start coming up and before projects start needing to be handing in.